Idemo dalje.
Whether they're foreign journalists or domestic journalists, an inability to actually cover what's going on in the West Bank, in Gaza, and in these prisons. There have been journalists who have not been allowed into these prisons, not been allowed in certain areas, which should
Preko 200 novinara je ubijeno od strane Izraela.
Transparency and oversight, the government decides to, the Israeli government
I svi šutite o tome, a?
It kind of reminds me of the detention centers
Katastrofa
that
je.
were being used
Užas.
to hold migrants. And the government would attack press rather than actually allowing oversight into these detention centers. Let's jump over here to the actual article itself from Nicholas Kristof. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I think it's worth really diving into the article that Trump does not want you to read. And then we'll talk about the attacks on this article more. It's a simple proposition. Whatever our views of the Middle East conflict, we should be able to unite in condemning rape. Supporters of Israel made that point after the brutal sexual assaults against Israeli women during the Hamas-led attack on Israel on October 7th. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Benjamin Netanyahu, many U.S. senators, including Marco Rubio, condemned that sexual violence, and rightfully so. Yet, in wrenching interviews, Palestinians have recounted to me a pattern of widespread Israeli sexual violence against men, women, and even children, by soldiers, settlers, interrogators, and the Shin Bet internal security agencies, and, above all, prison guards. There is no evidence that Israeli leaders order rapes, but in recent years they have built a security apparatus where sexual violence has become, as the United Nations report put it last year, one of Israel's standard operating procedures and, quote, a major element in the ill treatment of Palestinians. A report out last month
da ih
from the
ponize.
Euromed Human Rights Monitor, a Geneva-based advocacy group often critical of Israel, concludes that Israel employs, quote, systematic sexual violence that is, quote, widely practiced as part of an organized state policy. This is monstrous. This is disgusting. What does a standard operating procedure look like? Sami Al-Sai, 46, a freelance journalist, says that as he was being taken to a prison cell after his detention in 2024, a group of guards threw him to the ground. I should have issued a trigger warning a few minutes ago, but from here on out, a major trigger warning.
Silovali su čovjeka.
Quote, they were all hitting me, and one stepped on my head and neck, he said. Someone pulled my pants down, they pulled down my boxers, and then one of the guards pulled out a rubber baton used to beat prisoners. Quote, they were trying to force it to my rectum, and I was bracing myself to prevent it, but I couldn't, he said, speaking with increasing anxiety. It was so painful. The guards were laughing at him, he heard. He said. Then he heard someone say, give me the carrots, he recalled, adding that they then used a carrot. It was
Eto, neće se više šutjeti o tome u Hrvatskoj.